Hi, everybody. Good evening. Sandra Sheffrey, host of Race and the Races. All right, so these glasses are supposed to not reflect, but apparently they're like reflecting today, and I can't figure out what it is that's in my. Well, maybe I need to stay right here or something. I can't figure out what that is. But anyway, good evening, everybody. Sandra Sheffrey, host of Race and the Races. If you saw the title of the show, we talking about eggs today, y'all. Eggs, huevos, ze. We talking about eggs today. So yeah, the reality of what we're living right now is because people said they were concerned about the price of eggs or the price of groceries. It was too expensive to shop anymore, and they were blaming it all. They were blaming all of the things on the Biden administration or Biden Harris administration. So people were like, no, I can't afford anything. Gas is high, eggs is high, foods is high. I'm not getting no more checks in the mails like I was getting in 2020. And so, we're going to go in another direction. Despite all of the warnings, people are like, yo, they got this thing called Project 2025. They got this book with all that's like 925 pages. Is all of these things that they want to do. And most of those things are not good for the country. So please, people, even though you may have some issues with what eggs and costs were, or you weren't 100% happy with the Biden Harris administration. However, if you go in the other direction, you're going to run into some problems, right? And some of the problems may just be too big for all of us, right? And so here we are. People were talking about eggs, and the price of eggs have skyrocketed so much so that you can get put on a wait list, or some call me, let me know when you have eggs in stock. Okay, so this is where we are 3 weeks and 2 days 3 weeks now and 2 days into the administration. Maybe it might be officially 4, right? So it was like the 20th, the 27th, the 27th, the 3rd, and the 10th. Oh no, we're 3 weeks and 2 days in. And eggs, if you could find them, you probably can't afford them. But the crazy thing is, like, you can't find them, right? And then, the population that they targeted, a lot of them were farmers. They were agricultural workers. So all the other things are about to go up too. So people thought they were having a rough time at the end of the Biden-Harris administration in terms of what it is that they could and could not afford. It is not getting any better. It is not getting better. We're hearing about cuts in all kinds of departments. Federal jobs was probably like one of the most secure places for people to work. You got a job with the federal government, you could go ahead and stay there forever and then go ahead and retire. And now that's not the case, right? They're asking people to resign, which all of them folks that they're asking you to resign, please don't do that, because that's like you quitting your job. Don't quit your job. Don't quit your job. Now, they offer some sort of early retirement package or something like that. That might be something to consider. But resigning should not be anything that anybody does, because at the end of the day, you quitting your job. And as we can see, they're not, our current president is not in the business of keeping all of the promises that he makes to people, right? So don't resign. If there's some sort of early retirement, or if you're just like, you know what, I want no parts to this, and then you can leave and retire and get all of your money or whatever, then go ahead and do that. But don't resign. And the other thing that they were doing is, like, they were just sending people home. Go home, we'll send you some checks, and then until we figure out what it is that you want to do. And I think I saw something with the number that they're looking to, gut the government of, like, thousands and thousands of employees. I saw something about 2 million, but I can't imagine that could truly be the number. But they're clearing out certain agencies. USAID is at risk, right? And the other point I want to make before I forget to make this point is, last week when we were here, he was trying to say, we're not funding anybody anymore. We're not funding all of these agencies, right? And then, of course, lawsuits were being filed. And the courts was like, you can't do that, because if you don't fund things, there's too many consequences that you really don't understand is going to happen. So no, you can't do that. And then in public, He said, we rescind this because the courts told him not to do this. He's like, oh, I rescind this and we're not going to, cut, all this funding, right? And the courts told him you can't do that. Apparently, Mr. Man is basically, even though the court told him not to do it, not once but twice, right? And he publicly told everybody, oh no, I'm not going to do it anymore. He's actually doing it. There's a whole bunch of folks that's not getting their money, a lot of states that are not getting their money. My understanding is that Rhode Island, the state of Rhode Island, along with maybe 23 other states, Attorney General's office is suing him because he's not sending the money to the states that they need. Right. I was on in a meeting yesterday, and there was someone who was talking about how, the consequences of not sending money affected like a Meals on Wheels program that, provide food to the elderly. So this is the kind of stuff that's happening. And did I say it's only been 3 weeks? It's been 3 weeks and 2 days, and we're dealing with all of these problems already. Right. And again, I try not to be the I told you so person. But we all tried to tell you so, and here we are. But we can't get caught up in, we can't get stuck on, okay, y'all made a mistake. We got to figure out what it is that we're going to do, right? We got to figure out what we're going to do. So I can't just tell you, like, listen, it's terrible. And it's terrible, and it's probably going to get, worse before it gets better. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. But, we're resilient people. We're going to be able to tough it out, and we're going to figure it out, and we're going to mind as much of our business as we can as we try to navigate, what's going on. So what do? We start planning, we start preparing, we start figuring out what it is they need to do. So all that extra spending, because all that extra spending that you're doing, like things that you don't need, slow your roll. Don't buy them. Don't buy them, because part of what's happening is this is a money grab by like billionaires who think that they don't need people, right? They figure like, oh, we got all our money. We pretty much done, have all these folks convinced that they need us more than we need them. And so they just going to treat you any old kind of way because they're going to feel like you so silly. You're going to still spend your money with them no matter how they treat you. And so what I'm telling you to do is like, don't spend money you don't have to spend. Only buy the things that you absolutely need at this point, because it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So again, all those extra trips to Ross and all of these places to buy things that you don't need, don't. And if you got a big age like me, trust me, you got enough clothes. You don't need another outfit probably ever, right? You every now and then you might just throw something in there, but you don't need another outfit. I mean, you may want another outfit, but you don't need it. Don't go buy it. Like, don't buy it, okay? Because this is really about to get really tough, and you need to try to save as much money as you can so you can pay for the things that you absolutely have to pay for. Things like a roof under, a place for you to live. You're going to need to be able to figure out transportation. If you still got young kids like I do, there are going to be certain things that they're going to need. So you need to save up all your coins in order for you to be able to do that, right? And those of you who have disposable income, this might be a good time to invest, right? Because, the ball is going to be making some money, so try to make some money with them. But other than that, don't spend money on things that you do not need. Do not do it. Don't do it, because this is about to get real rough. There was an article today, so I read more than I watch, because I told y'all I'm trying to watch it, but it's hard. So I read more than I watch. They're like, yeah, the price of breakfast is about to go up. You know why the price of breakfast is about to go up? Because of them eggs that are super expensive. If you see the photo that went with this show, it's some eggs from Walmart that I know for a fact my mother bought for like $11 one time and probably $16 another time, right? And I was told that they used to be cheaper than that for like 5 dozen eggs. Those things is $27, and you can't even get them if you want them, because you gotta, you could get notified when they're available. And then there was this bigger box of eggs that, maybe restaurants usually use, and eggs were already expensive at the restaurant. I mean, like, you'd be buying one egg for like $3 or something like that. But, now it's going to be even more expensive. They said between the eggs and the orange juice, because, that community that they were all sending back. That's a lot of ag. All the farmers, they're gone. So your eggs and your orange juice and breakfast is about to be prohibitive right now. So you better go get you some rolling oats and start eating some oatmeal in the morning, or maybe get into some intermittent fasting and not eat until lunchtime, because some changes are going to have to be made. And I'm not telling you all to do things that I myself is not going to have to do, because it's really this is serious. It's really rough. And it's not gloom and doom. It's not gloom and doom, but it's going to be rough. Tighten up your belts. Don't spend your money. Not only to not spend your money, because you're going to need a lot of your money to kind of get through just whatever these next couple of years or 4 years are going to be. Don't spend your money, because again, these folks are just like playing in our faces, disrespecting us in our faces, and be like, and we going to do all that, and you still going to come spend your money with us. Show them that you don't have to. Be like, oh, I absolutely don't. Now, I know it's hard to give up Amazon, because I'm one of them people. That's where the dog food comes from. Like, they just drop it off, and I don't got to go to the store to kind of find it. So I know that it may not be possible for you to, do all of these things all at one time, but do as much as you can, because it's amazing to me how people, and I'm talking about billionaires in this instance, who they cannot run their business without labor. They have to have some people working for them, because they cannot do all of the jobs that's in their industry, right? So they need a workforce. And for you to need a workforce, for you to need consumers, in order for you to, I guess you may not, to either get richer or maybe to not have to keep spending your money, you need a workforce and you need consumers. But instead of like appreciating them for being able to provide you with, the life that you live in, buying mega yachts, super yachts, baby yachts, yachts over yachts, you're going to go ahead and disrespect them and treat them in ways that are so inhumane, like so inhumane. It's just, it's amazing, right? I saw this image of, Mr. X, Twitter X or whatever, in the Oval Office, just being real disrespectful, just in the way he looks, talking like he's the president of the United States or whatever. And, again, this man is like, he don't care nothing about y'all. Because people gonna still go buy his cars. They're going to still use his social media platform, and he figured you're going to still do that. So he can play in your face, continue to disrespect you, and then you're going to continue to support him. And that's what we need to stop doing, right? There's enough, I think people are going to some platform called Blue Sky and that type of stuff. I'm not so big on the social media yet. I'm trying to get to a place where, I transitioned. I was never a Twitter person. So that was never a thing that I did. So I didn't get into it. But I know, like, today I was thinking about like one of the things that Dave Chappelle said, and he's like, yeah, Twitter's the bathroom wall. This all kind of nonsense stuff is there, and that's pretty much what it's becoming, right? Okay, so all that. Price of eggs are gonna go up. They're high now. Probably can't get none. They're still high. So tighten our belts. Don't buy things that you don't need to buy. Only pay for the things you need to pay, because you're going to need all of your extras in order for you to just basically maintain yourself. Because again, we're 3 weeks in and all of these things are happening, and we're going to start we have friends who we know that are going to be losing their positions because he's trying to gut the federal government. So, it's going to be rough. Yes. So Christian Moore, who's a classmate of mine from undergrad, said withholding our dollars and engagement is our leverage right now. And it is because, the Black community, and I think I read somewhere where the amount of money that goes through, well, it don't really stay in our community. It kind of goes out, come in and go right back out. Is about like, it's like $6 trillion or something. Like we probably are ourselves is probably like one of the richest countries in the world with just the amount of money that we get in our community, but we consume so much that it doesn't stay. It just goes right back out. But right now we need to hold back, right? And on top of that, we have, they're making this attack on DEI, like, oh, fire all these DEI people. And when they say that, right, that's just code because they think all DEI employees are Black folks. And I'm telling you, that is not the case, right? DEI doesn't mean that's a Black person with that position. DEI it could be a white woman, it could be a veteran, it could be a person with a disability, it could be a member of our LGBTQAI community. DEI is all of those things, right? It's all of those things, but they say it and they're making it seem like, oh, just take away all these black jobs, right? So we need to say, no, we're not going to do that. And the companies that have decided, the companies who have decided, is like, you know what, we're going to fall for this pressure, and then we're going to get rid of all of our DEI folks. Mind you now, those people were there most likely doing an excellent job, right? Doing a great job, but then they're gonna go let this man make DI become a bad word, and then remove a person from a position when they were doing a good job. That's unacceptable. We don't need to support companies that are going to do things like this, right? And a lot of this, so some people kind of saw the writing on the wall ahead of time, and they were able to make some moves before they found themselves unemployed overnight. But there's some people who are just like, wait, what? This is totally unexpected. And besides being unexpected, it should be totally unacceptable by all of us, right? And I'm a person that's that's employed too, and hopefully I have like some level of job security or whatever, but we really have to do better. Like, we have to do better. Don't spend our money in places where they're not respecting you, right? They're not respecting you, and just basically, again, like I keep saying, playing in your faces. Don't do that, right? So don't do that. So we gonna save our money, because we're gonna need them to pay like the real bills that's gonna keep us with a place to live and keep us mobile, right? And the prices of food are going to go up. It's not going down. Gas going to go up. Eggs going to go up. All of those things are going to go up. And it's going to get even worse, because one of the things we've come to learn is that when the economy goes back, those big companies, they don't absorb the cost. They going to pass it on to the consumer. And then, this man is still trying to act like tariffs is something that impacts other countries and not consumers in the United States. So he's still talking about tariffs from stuff from China. The president of Mexico was like, yeah, bring it, brother. You ain't finna, ain't nobody scared of you. And he backed off from Mexico, backed off, in Canada kind of said, yeah, and they kind of backed off. But I think they took the lead from the female president of Mexico. She was like, listen, y'all need us more than we need you. And for the most part, that very well may be true. All right. So we got to do that. So what we going to do? We're going to start running for office, y'all. So I know all the women was like, black women in particular said, we going to rest, right? This is not our fight. We're going to rest. Okay. Don't rest too long, because as we're resting, some of those folks who pretended to be our allies and had our backs, and the people who we created space and opened doors for them, right? Instead of them checking on us, they kind of stepping on our back, stepping on our necks. And I believe I said this again last week. So yeah, all right. So the resting is over. Y'all need to get it together, and we need to start running for office, right? And on both sides, right? On both sides of the aisle. Like, one of the things I'm going to say to black folks is stop making black Republicans feel bad. Because at this point, a sensible black Republican is probably exactly what we need to go fight MAGA in the House, the Senate, wherever, right? We really need like now we don't need somebody that's going to go out there, going to be looking like us and then doing the same nonsense. No, we need somebody who, maybe conservative in their views, but they're like, listen, they realize that this is straight foolishness, and they're going to have the strength and like the character to say, listen, I'm not finna co-sign all of this. I'm not going to be at the press conference standing next to my cheating husband. We're not doing that, right? So we need to really create that space for black folks who are Republicans to go ahead and run for these seats and get elected. And maybe that's the answer to MAGA, because, I'm going to probably get a whole lot of flack for this, but at this point, I don't care, right? Because yes, we want to elect more Democrats or whatever, but that might not necessarily be the answer, because we've had people who pretend to be Democrats, they go get elected, and then they get there and they flip their script and become Republicans. We've already had 2 seats in Florida where that happened. One of them in the county that I live in. This woman went there, got elected 2 months ago, it's November, so maybe 3-4 months ago, as a Democrat, took her butt up there and switched parties like within a week. So we don't need that, right? So we don't need none of this. We don't need any more people who are gonna pretend to be Democrats, and we're gonna support them just because they are, and they're in terms of the issues, their values aren't really aligning. So go run for office, run as a Dem if you want to, but black folks, we need to give black Republicans that space to go ahead and run, because I think they're going to be the response to MAGA. We need to take some of them, that 218, whatever number they got, get some folks in there. And it probably won't be till 26 at this point, and get them in 26, and so they can really start fighting, these few folks that just have a straight chokehold on the country, and they're doing things that's not even in the best interest of their constituents, and they're just operating from way too much hate. Like, it's just like you just doing nonsense because you can. You're just doing stuff because you're hateful, and it's just really truly. One of the best things I heard Kamala say was like, it's time to turn the page on this. It really is. So some folks made a mistake. I know they started having buyer's remorse like real quick in November, but by that time it was just too late. It was too late. But now, you felt it 3 weeks, 2 days in, you're feeling it. By the time 26 come, y'all gonna be like, Lord, just anybody but this, right? And so this is when we're gonna take our opportunity and we're gonna get folks elected in both parties, right? We're gonna get Black Republicans or whoever, true ally Republicans elected that's gonna go there and just not be scared of these bullies, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what they are, right? They scare people because the folks are, they're gonna go out, put out your address, put out your phone number, do all kind of nonsense stuff like that. We need people that are tough enough to go ahead and just not feel bullied by these folks and just go in there and get elected. On the Democratic side, we need to do the same thing. And we need to properly vet these candidates to make sure that they're just not here talking some talk so they can get in just to go be more concerned about getting reelected and having some title instead of doing what it is that the people need them to do, right? Because an issue that everyone's having in Florida is the price of insurance, right? The price of homeowners insurance, if you can even get it. And, and that's something that it don't matter who you are, what color you are, where you live, what's your socioeconomic status, whatever, that's affecting everybody. That is something that people should at least, these elected officials should at least be able to agree on. They can't even agree on that because the other part, they're just so busy being hateful, that they're not even doing the job to give some folks relief, right? So yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that. That's part of the plan. It's tough. It's going to get tougher. Just tighten up. It's going to get tougher, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to create space for Black Republicans to go ahead and run for office because they're going to be tough enough, especially women. Black women, we don't play, right? We're going to be like, nah, that's nonsense. We ain't having it. And we're going to put our foot down and, get the right thing done. And if we got to shut things down in order for us to get the business done, that's what we'll do. Let's take a page out of the Texas legislators. I think this was like maybe in a 22 cycle, Texas was trying to pass some laws and they were like, oh no, we can't have that. And they needed to have quorum. So all of those Black electeds, they dipped out of town so they couldn't get quorum to vote on this foolishness. See, this is stuff Black people do. These are the kind of things that we need to do. So just like them Texas legislators, like, yeah, we out, right? So they left so they couldn't get quorum. Then, of course, some people fell for the pressure and then the governor started threatening them with certain things. And so they had to come back. But at least they delayed and they took a stand. We need to start taking a stand. There's no way when people need your money, they need you to go to work for them. They need you too, that they can consistently treat you like this and you not do anything about it. Like, come on now, y'all. Like, for real. Like, we're not going to do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to run for office. Not me. Y'all. People who know me, they know that's not for me. I will support you in any way that I can. I will be there, but my mouth, no. Okay. So I'm not running for office. So don't get scared. I ain't gonna do that. But I want the rest of y'all, and I will support you in any way. You know what I'm saying? I don't canvas. I'll go outside. I'll call. I'll beg for money. I'll do all the things. I'll help you figure out what your win number is. Help you with the data. All that stuff. I help you do all those things because I done went to the campaign school at Yale. I've done a main or emerge campaign training. I've done a lot of campaign training. So I have all these information in my head so I can help you get there. I'm just not going to be the face of that. But I'm telling y'all, this is what we need y'all to do. Both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, all that, MPAs, go run for office and figure out what you need to do to win, because we need to get rid of this MAGA movement that got a chokehold on the government. Imagine last session, right? I don't know if they're on 119th Congress, that means that was 118th, whatever the number is, right? I think they probably passed like maybe 23, 24, whatever laws in a whole year of stuff. I think the last time that happened was probably when America got started. right? So you talking about being unproductive. They were getting paid all their money to go there and not do the business of the people. That is crazy talk. That needs to end. So they went there, got caught up in the personality nonsense, don't want to do anything, and pretty much did not earn their keep. They did not earn their living during that last session. So listen, we already sent them back. Y'all already sent them back. I'm gonna say I didn't, but y'all sent them back. They gotta go. They gotta go. 3 weeks in, they've shown you why they gotta go, and so many of us are already so miserable that we're trying to figure out how we finna make it through. We're gonna make it though. We're gonna make it. We're trying to figure out how we about to get through these next 1 year, 11 months. All right, so get ready, start running. If you want to run for office, start running now. Get into those community, get to know those people, listen more than you talk so you can find out what it is that folks need. Listen more than you talk so you can find out what it is that people need, and then go do that work. And people are going to support you, because even if they didn't know, they know now. And they found out quick. Some of those folks who, there's another video, I talked about it last week too, where the Venezuelan community fell for the okie doke with the Republican Party and 45, now 47. And they're just like, oh, they lied to us. They told us it wasn't going to be us. And it was them. And it's them in a big way, right? So I think, now that I know a lot of folks, a lot of folks have realized that they were lied to, they were bamboozled. They were told, they believed when they were told that Project 2025 wasn't a real thing. They're trying to get rid of the Department of Education, right? That wasn't Project 2025. They're trying to get rid of USAID. They're confirming people who are unqualified. See, like if there was some Republican sisters on that side, they'd have been like, we're not going to confirm this, and they would have shut all that foolishness down. That's why I'm going to say this again. Black folks, give Black Republicans some space. I'm not talking about Tom, his name ain't Tom. His name is Tim Scott. I'm not talking about that dude. Not them folks. We need like Black women. We need like women to go there, because sisters gonna do the right thing. Usually they always do. So we need some Black women to go on up in there and set these folks straight, right? Going up in there and set these folks straight. So we're gonna do that. So they're canceling all these programs, and they're gutting programs, saying we don't need them. And this is the thing, because we're getting to time. I'm going to try to keep the shows at 30 minutes. And this is what's really happening that they're not telling people about, right? And I think that's why so many billionaires supported 47 to get elected, is because those tax cuts that he gave them between 2016 and 2020, that they're not. That's what this is about. The country cannot afford to continue those tax cuts. They can't afford it. They cannot afford it. So what do? You cut programs. There's no Head Start for kids. You don't care if the old people ain't got no food. You don't care about nothing to make sure people who don't need no more money ever in their life can get some more from you. And then they always refer to poor folks as welfare queens and all this kind of stuff. No. Corporations, these billionaires, they're the true welfare queens. They're the ones that's living off the back of people and taxpayers and all this kind of stuff and doing very little in return, okay? They act like they're doing you a favor because they're letting you work. Well, you working to make them rich, all right? You're the one that's going out there doing some things, all right? So this is what that's truly about. It's not about cutting spending and getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse, because most of the money that's being wasted is going to billionaires that have contracts with the government, okay? That's where the waste and fraud and abuse is happening, not with the people that are getting social services that they absolutely need, all right? So this whole thing about like, we're going to gut this government agency, we're going to gut that is about trying to find that money that they need to give billionaires more tax cuts. Don't fall for it. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Call your senators, call your representatives, and let them know that, no, people don't need this. They can't have this, right? So I have a question. What's your perspective on how we rebuild the Black and brown coalitions across the country? Okay, so this is the thing. So one of the things that I've come to understand is that we talk about Black and brown communities like they're just kind of one thing. all those communities are different. The way that you may speak to some Black folks from the Caribbean is not necessarily the same conversation that you would have with Black Americans. And even when you break down the Caribbean community, there's still different ways that you may speak to a Haitian national, a Jamaican national, somebody from Trinidad, because some of those, there's just some nuances and some needs. So we have to figure out how to first have those conversations individually with those groups, figure out what the common ground is with those communities, and that's how you bring it together. When you think about brown communities, I think of them more as like Latino, Central American, South American, those groups. Those Hispanic communities, Spanish-speaking language communities are very different. The way you're going to deal with a Cuban, a Venezuelan, someone from Argentina, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, you're going to handle those populations very, very differently. So again, you need to speak with those communities as a community, figure out what it is that they need and how it is that you need to address them, figure out where all the common ground is, and then we come together on the common ground, because we get it out of our heads that we're going to agree on any and everything. We're not going to agree on everything, and we don't need to. We just have to figure out the things that we're going to agree on and work in coalition to get those things done. Now, but this is one thing that I'm saying too, right? So I'm telling us we can't rest, get ready, run for office, find some things to do, right? But what I also want Black folks to not do, and I'm going to say it, I don't want you to do this. Oftentimes, I'm not going to say every time, oftentimes where, certain communities need help from us, or they got some issue that's their issue, they come to look for us to support them, right? And when we go, because we always think like, well, if we don't make it good for them, it's going to be worse for us. It's worse, it's bad, we bad, it's bad for us already, right? So what we need to stop doing is fighting another person's fight and getting absolutely nothing in return. So I keep getting all these invitations to some marches they about to have. They about to go march here, march there. I'm not going. I ain't going to no march for nothing. I'm not going. I don't care. I'm not going. I'm not going to nobody march, because again, when we were arresting, people were stepping over us, stepping on us, and I've experienced it. So these are the things that I've experienced in the last few months since the election, and so I know it. So I'm not going to your march. I'm not going. I'm gonna do the work and do what it is that I can do, but I'm not going. I'm not going to your march. I'm so sorry, right? Until those communities can show me what it is that they're doing to truly support Black folks, right? So that's it. Definitely not homogenous, which makes it so hard. Yeah, it makes it hard because it's not homogenous. But again, there's still certain things that all of us have to deal with, and we need to deal with those things. We need to figure out, so all right, this insurance stuff that I keep talking about, particularly those of us in Florida, let's go deal with that. Like we could get on board on that, right? And we can pressure our legislators to make sure we can have affordable insurance. Let's do that. Medicare for all, right? Florida is one of those states that doesn't have it. Those are things, you have insurance and you're still paying high deductibles, high co-pays, all of these things. That's something that we could all think about, so let's find common ground on that. Now, there are some other issues that are important that we may not agree on, and I'm not saying that those shouldn't be addressed. However, we really do need to work on the things that are across the board issues that's impacting people, no matter what what community that they're from. So that's what we need to do. All right, like I said, I'm gonna keep it honest and try to stay as close to 30 minutes. I got two things to say. So in Florida, House District 101 is up. That was the person, Hillary Cassell. She was the person that won as a Democrat. And as soon as she got, there, she was like, yeah, I'm a Republican. And she's, they talk about these single issue voter people. She said it's a single issue that made her do that. I'm not going to get into that. But I know if her constituents knew that she was going to get elected and become a Republican, they wouldn't have voted for her. So that seat is going to be contested. Oftentimes the party tries not to get people to run against other Democrats that were doing a good job, but no one's thinking she's doing a good job right now, considering she went there and flipped the script on everybody unexpectedly. So Todd Dalmay has already announced that he's running for that seat. So she already has competition and he's looking for support. So that's a seat that's open. Go run for that, right? There are two seats in Northern Florida: House District Seat 1, House District Seat 6. That's from Matt Gaetz and another lady that went into the administration. One's in Northern Florida, other one is out on the West Coast. There are two Democrats running. They're it's an uphill battle because those are red counties, but if you can, you know anybody that's in Northern Florida, in House District US, it's a US House seat 1 and US House seat 6. Get somebody to go run. That election is April 1st. There are 6 cities. Well, it's actually going to be 5 because that are in Broward County that have odd year elections. Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach, Sea Lake Ranch, Miramar, Pembroke Pines, Hillsborough Beach. Their candidates were uncontested, so there's no election there. So Miramar, Pembroke Pines, Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach, Sea Lake Ranch or Sea Ranch Lake, they all have elections on March 11th. 2025. That's a Tuesday, only day you can vote. If you wanted to vote, you had to register by the 10th, which has passed. But if you want, you can still order a vote by mail ballot by February 27th. So if you want to vote by mail, get your vote by mail ballot. The latest you can ask for it is February 27th, so you can run. So you can vote in Miramar, Pembroke Pines, Coconut Creek, Deerfield Beach. It's either Sea Lake Ranch or Sea Ranch Lake. That community. So those are local elections. And then the House, U.S. House seats, that election is April the 1st. So if you know people in those communities, encourage them to support those Democrats in some sort of way, because the Republicans only have a 1-seat majority. Now, if those 2 seats can turn blue, we might not have to wait for 26 to, see some change. We might not have to wait till 26. So if we can flip those 2, then Hakeem Jeffries will become Speaker of the House. So look what Florida could do. You think Florida gonna pull it off? If y'all know somebody trying to get Florida to pull it off. All righty then. So I'm at time. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. It's gonna be rough. It can get better. We got things we can do. If y'all know people in Northern Florida on the West Coast, tell them to vote them so we can flip that seat. Hakeem Jeffries could become Speaker of the House, and then we might slow down all of the crazy that's happening. It's only been 3 weeks and 2 days, y'all. I'm already tired. It feels like it's been forever. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Y'all have yourself a good night. And I will see you maybe next week. Bye-bye. Elections have consequences. Bye-bye.